Hey guys, Thomas Solo Jr. here, aka Mustached Tom, here to review the movie Logan. So this review will have spoilers in it at some point, and I'll pull that out. But this movie is the last, apparently, of the X-Men, at least revolving around Logan as a character. And this time around, he's here to take care of a little girl named Lori, while also taking care of an older Xavier, and he's fed up with a lot of the stuff that's been going on. And apparently, a lot of the other X Men have been uh, taken out somehow. And it's up to Logan to get this girl to a safe location while these pretty generic bad guys go about trying to take her in and then keep her secret because it was like another one of these experiment things that went terrible. So pretty similar to Logan's regard. And of course, Logan, upon getting across this information at first, he's not even having any of it, but eventually he's like, whatever, I'll do it fine. And you have a few moments here and there where they interact with one another, as long as with Charles, and yeah, it's a pretty action-packed movie as they're constantly being chased again by that pretty standard group. I think this being rated R, helped this movie a little bit in that regard. But the whole swearing thing, I thought I thought some of them were a little bit unnecessary. I mean, maybe not for Logan. I think that was fine. Um, Maybe it could have laid off on Charles being saying that, having that dialogue as well. Um, and for a movie that is 2 hours, I was a little bit surprised too um, that the interactions between the characters weren't up to par what I thought they were going to be. Um, there are some moments here and there, like there's the moment but I think more of them revolve around Charles and Xavier rather than Logan and the girl Laurie. Uh, so at this point, I suppose I'll get into spoiler territory. So, just as I mentioned before, there are a lot of more interactions with Logan and Xavier, and one of the last ones actually has Xavier talking about what type of peace he wanted because they ended up at this farm where a family takes care of them and they're hiding out. And he assumes he's talking to Logan when he's having this little moment, and it ends up being this, I guess, Logan copy. I don't know. Like, I wish they had explained that more. I don't know who that character was. He looked like a younger version, like a little bit less shaven off, and um, he had a very similar costume because I guess they wanted to make him look out to be like the Wolverine. Um, but I don't understand how that came to even be. Like, I think that part, like, I don't get me wrong, I was interested in seeing like where that would go, but where that came from is what confuses me. And the other part about that and Lori specifically, because I think this is like slightly based off of the X-23 thing. I think that's the character that this is like based off of. You have the whole confusing thing because of how um, it's not even canon anymore about X-Men 3. I think it was where they first introduced her, or I should say X-23, the one that went after Wolverine, and Charles dying on top of that. He does die in this movie as well. And before all that, you see him going through like these mind like panics, I guess I'll call them. And then every time this happens, it affects everyone because his powers are starting to just, they're losing that he's losing that ability to focus it. So it spreads out, and then he needs to take something in order to stop it. Um, and even though there are some slower scenes, I felt like a good chunk of them um, felt like they weren't, again, dealing with the two that were kind of more focused on, I guess, being Logan and Laurie. Uh, but they do get him. He does eventually get her to this area where there's a bunch of younger mutants, and then they're trying to get past uh, the people hunting them down because they also found their location at this point in time. But Logan apparently also is dealing with his own issues. He was at some point, I don't know when, but I think I might have missed it. But he was like shot with something that made him so that he wouldn't be able to heal certain parts of his body. I think that's how they explained it. And then as the movie progresses, it only gets worse and worse, and that eventually leads to him actually dying. Um, when they're with the younger group of mutants who are who group together to get out with Laurie, and I guess she just it ends with her walking off with the rest of them, and then she tilts his cross into the X. Very fitting end to to this saga. I will say that it does it kind of mess with the whole timeline because I'm not sure like I'm not even sure how this ties in with the other even Logan movies in themselves. I mean, there's that one where he goes to Japan, and then there's that other one with the terrible Deadpool. Unless no, those are two different movies, but yeah, I don't know. I felt like this movie, like I felt like everything before this movie hurts this movie, and that's so weird to say, because this movie's pretty good, but like trying to figure out like how everything gets to this point, it's never really explored um, all too well. Again, with the whole all the X Men dying, like that part is never really that well explored. How Charles is a part of this, never really well explored. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know. It's canon, I guess. Uh, I mean, I guess they were trying really really hard to make it seem like X-Men 3 never happened. Um, so I don't know. Anyway, I still enjoyed this movie, even if if everything preceding it unfortunately hurts it in a weird sort of way. Even in the movie itself, some of the pacing can get a little bit off, uh, particularly around any area, but focusing on with Logan and Laurie, I felt like those moments were a little bit weaker than, again, how I said with Logan and Charles. And I think because of that, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. It's still an enjoyable film, but I felt like giving it the extra like 8 out of 10 or even 9 out of 10. I think this movie is unfortunately too hurt by everything else around it, even its own like even everything in the movie itself kind of hurts it a little bit. But I think it's still a satisfying ending. Again, to the whole Logan saga trilogy, I guess. even though the other two parts of that trilogy, the only one part of that trilogy is considered good, which is this one. Uh, See, that's what hurts it. I feel like so. It is unfortunate, but it is what it is at the end of the day. So I still enjoyed the movie. I think if the X Men, the world of X Men was treated better from the very beginning, I think this could have been a way better film when combined and thinking about everything that's come to be. Even the pacing itself, again, still hurts the movie, even within the context of what happens in the movie. But at any rate, I think I've gone on for long enough. So if you enjoyed this review, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, bye!